Earth is trapping twice as much heat as it did in 2005. And the trends we found were quite alarming in a sense, scientists say. Planet Earth is now trapping twice as much heat as it did 14 years ago, according to findings of a new study which raised concern, 17 years ago, raising concerns about the possible acceleration of climate change. And for the study, researchers looked at data from the clouds and the Earth's Radiant Energy Systems CERES instrument. It flies on several NASA's Earth observation satellites, and it measures how much energy the planet absorbs in the form of sunlight and how much of that it emits back into space in the form of infrared radiation. I mean, we have so much sunlight, hopefully we'll be able to use that for our free energy resources. Now, the difference between, and green energy, the difference between the incoming and outflowing energy is called the energy imbalance, and the study found that in the period between 2005-2019, the imbalance doubled compared to the years before. The scientists used additional data from Argo. It's an international network of robotic sensors distributed all over the world's oceans, and it measures the rate at which oceans heat up. The researcher said comparing CERES data to Argo data helps strengthen the findings, as global oceans are known to absorb about 90% of the excess energy trapped by the planet. The two very independent ways of looking at changes in Earth's energy imbalance are in really good agreement, and they're both showing this very large trend. This is what Norman Loeb, lead author of the new study and principal investigator for CERES at NASA's Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia, said. He said, the trends we found were quite alarming in a sense. Loeb and his team concluded in the increased heating as a result of both naturally occurring and human-made processes, increasing concentrations of greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane in Earth's atmosphere lead to more heat being trapped in the planet by the planet. In the meantime, the shrinking size of the ice sheets caused by the planet's warming leads to less of the incoming energy being reflected away from the planet's surface, which is bad news. But the researchers found that a natural recurring pattern called the Pacific Decadal Oscillation, PDO for short, is also contributing. The PDO cycle causes regular fluctuations in the temperature of the Pacific Ocean, with its western parts becoming cooler and the eastern parts warmer for 10 years, following an opposite trend a decade later. An unusually intense PDO phase that began in about 2014 caused a reduction in cloud formation above the Pacific Ocean, which also resulted in the increased absorption of incoming energy by the planet, the scientists said. It's likely a mix of anthropogenic forcing and internal variability, said Loeb. He was referring to the effects human activity has on the heat exchange between the Earth's atmosphere and the surrounding space environment, and the natural variations in the behavior of the planet's ecosystem. He said over this period, they're both causing warming, which leads to a fairly large change in Earth's energy imbalance. The magnitude of the increase is unprecedented in this record, he said. Loeb added that while the study captured only a short period of time, the rate of heat uptake suggests that the Earth's climate is even more off balance than previously thought, and that worse effects can be expected, including steeper temperature and sea level rise, unless the trend is reversed. This study was published last June 15 on Journal Geophysical Research Letters by Teresa Pultrova, and it's on Live Science. Now the thing is, I really don't know what the Pacific Decadal Oscillation is, what causes that. The PDO. That happens when the western part is different temperature than the eastern part. But going to NOAA, they explained that the Pacific Decadal Oscillation is often described as long-lived El Nino-like pattern of Pacific climate variability. This is according to Zhang and team from 1997. And as seen with the better-known El Nino Southern Oscillation ENSO, extremes in the PDO pattern are marked by widespread variations in the Pacific Basin and North American climate. In parallel with the ENSO phenomenon, the extreme phases of PDO, the Pacific Decadal Oscillation, have been classified as being either warm or cold, as defined by ocean temperature anomalies in the Northeast and tropical Pacific Ocean. The SSTs are anomalously cool in the interior North Pacific and warm along the Pacific coast, and when sea level pressures are below average over the North Pacific, the PDO has a positive value. When the climate anomaly patterns are reversed, with warm SST anomalies in the interior and cool SST anomalies along the North American coast, or above average sea level pressures over the North Pacific, the PDO has a negative value. The NCIE PDO index, based on NOAA's extended reconstruction of SSTs, is constructed by regressing the ERSST anomalies against the Mantua PDO index for their overlap time period to compute the PDO regression map for the North Pacific ERSST anomalies. Now I'll leave a link below for this on NOAA.gov as well, the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.